I praise God that Weight Watchers doesn't have a limit on how many times you can join. Because I've done Weight Watchers 9 times. And I've lost 7 pounds. And all. It's because I don't follow it. And I know it works. I really do. I know it works, but I go more for the comedy at the meetings. I don't know if y'all have ever been to a Weight Watchers meeting, but it is so funny. Okay. But like everybody comes up with recipes. Like the other day, we were there, and a woman goes, okay, if you put a teaspoon of cocoa and an egg white and put a dollop of water in it and pray over it and put it in the microwave, you've got chocolate cake. And we've all got our iPhone out and trying to film her. And then somebody will get up and they'll go, oh my gosh, y'all, there's fat-free chocolate mint ice cream, but you can only find it at the Harriman Walmart. And people start throwing chairs and like running in a panic. This is what I figured out about myself. Okay, I eat, and I think it's because I'm from sweet country farming people. We value our children and what we've grown to eat and what we've killed. So my people use food for everything. If you're happy, if you're sad, if whatever. I mean, a celebration, woo, okay. And I know I've done that, and I know that I eat emotionally, but I never wanted to ride around in a minivan on dope or alcohol with little children in the car. I didn't want to drink whiskey, so my kids would get to fighting, and my husband would say something hateful like, "What have you done all day?" And that would make me so mad, and I'd eat a hot dog, and I didn't even know what happened. But Weight Watchers has a point system. So say you get like 23 points out of the day, and you got to go within those points, and they'll say, fruits and vegetables are free. You don't want fruits and vegetables. When you first start, you're so hungry that you could eat the wallpaper off the wall. A chicken breast is 3 points. A Snicker bar is 12 points. That's what you want. I've been known to be in the closet turning a lamp on and off, eating a sleeve of Chips Ahoy cookies. But I try to stay within my points. All right, my sister will go on it every time I will, and she lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, and she'll call me and she'll say, it's noon, and I've eaten all my points. I'm in love with my girls. I'm in love with them, and they're my best friends, especially as they get older. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. But he has been from heaven. Okay, it's so wonderful. All right, well, he got married in September, and when he started bringing his wife around us, he would say to me, you have a terrible look on your forehead. And I would say, what? I don't know what you're talking about. But he said, Mom, she's my best friend, and I want to marry her. They met in college at Berry College, and he said, she's going to be my wife. And so I tried to, It wasn't anything against her. It was anybody that was going to come in and take my boy, because he's the best thing that's ever, all right, he's like the best of their daddy. He's like everything their daddy can't be. Does that make sense? So right before the wedding, he said, Mom, she is my immediate family now. You're my extended. I'm supposed to cleave to my wife. That's biblical. And I said, why did I show him the Bible? But they had a beautiful wedding, and really, when I got in there and the Holy Spirit was there and God was in it, and I knew they were supposed to be together, and I love her. I mean, I love her. She's like another daughter to me now. And but I was freaked out. But everything is okay now. And then I got to thinking, how psycho am I that I want to keep him forever and have him live in the basement and be a weirdo? You know, that's twisted. So I was able to let him go. And I love her. She's like another child to me. And I tell you, for you little mamas out there, you young mamas that are going through, you know, got a bunch of little children vomiting in the carpet, peeing in the closet. When you're trying to pee and they like slide ham under the door and say, can you open this, Mom? I know what y'all want for Mother's Day. Y'all want an Ambien and a hotel room. I hope y'all get it. I hope y'all get it. When you get to be my age, and I'm 51 years old, honey, you beg your little children to come home and be up your butthole. I beg them and try to hold money over their head. All right, but they're all home. I'm so thankful, so grateful. Okay, y'all, we got a big night ahead of us. Y'all are precious. I want to talk to y'all about, because I am 51 and going through hormonal changes. Okay, I am with their daddy, and these children all walked off and left me with him. And he's so not fun. And he can't help it. He's that way because he has to make a living for all of us. And he's got a lot on us, and all the money's going out the window. And, you know, because we got 2 in college. We just had 1 get married. But he and I are having to adjust being together for the first time in how many years, you know, before we got married. And so he sends me emoji, kissy faces, and stuff like that. But I am low on progesterone and testosterone. He's low on testosterone. Praise God. So one of my good friends in Nashville said, I'm selling this jewelry. And you get out and you schlep this jewelry around in women's houses like Tupperware. So, and I didn't even care about jewelry. So I get out and start selling this jewelry. And instead of talking about jewelry, I talk about breastfeeding and hemorrhoids and how my husband doesn't wake up when the baby's crying and all that. I kind of developed an act. And women thought I was funny. And one night somebody peed on a couch, Charlie. And I thought then, I've got something. And I had always loved comedy. My husband and I had been on a trip.
Wait. Okay, back this up. I thought when you said someone peed on a couch, I thought that was the beginning of a news story. But you're saying someone laughed so hard they just peed on a couch, and that's how you knew. That's how you knew.
That's how I knew. Something. I'm not kidding. That was a God moment. When I clicked in my head, I thought, okay, I've got it. because I had been thinking all this time that I had not been doing anything. Always in my heart, I thought I'm going to be doing something. And I'd always loved comedy. I knew I was funny. I knew I could tell a story. But, when you come from a little country town and then, everybody takes a traditional bath and you go to college and everybody expects you to be a certain, I just did not know how and I didn't know when, but I knew I was still going to do it.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I had been to the Comedy Store on a trip in LA. Mm-hmm. And I watched them. Dom Herrera got up. I'm trying to think of all the people that were there, but it was a wonderful night. And I remember thinking in my head, I can do this. I'm going to be doing this. But I just kept it to myself. So I start selling this jewelry and women start booking me so far in advance, like a year in advance, to have these jewelry parties. So I look back on it now, there were no comedy clubs, but it was my own little comedy club in every one of these little houses. And I'd go and put that jewelry out on somebody's kitchen table. And then I'd talk about, breastfeeding, hemorrhoids and, stuff mamas go through. And the company noticed and started asking me to speak at their big things. And women, it was all women, and they in the audience, and they would come up to me after and go, "You need to be a stand-up comedian." And there was a guy there who had done comedy a long time in this was a Christian jewelry business. And so there was a Christian comic, Dennis Swanberg. I cannot believe I remembered his name, but he was big in the Christian comedy world. And I didn't even know anything about Christian comedy, but he came up to me and he goes, "I think you need to try stand-up." He was like the big entertainment and I was just a speaker. And I literally breastfed by then I had my second baby. She's 25 now. I nursed her on the toilet in Opryland Hotel in Nashville, handed her over to my mama, and then got up on stage and talked. So anyway, he came up to me and said, "I think you need to try it." And the women were saying it, and it gave me the confidence, Charlie, to do it. And so little things, just people came in my path, and I just fell into stuff. And I started doing like little things around the community for like the Rotary Club or Kiwanis Capers. And honey, I thought I was Chris Rock. And my husband sold that business and went to work for a large mobile home company that's all over the United States. It's a Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett company. And they moved us to San Antonio. And San Antonio had a club. And I started working that club. And it wasn't that great a fit, but I was unique there. It was a lot of Hispanic comics and they were all darling, but that was kind of the thing there. And so I started driving to Austin, Texas, to Cap City Comedy Club, which is one of the best comedy clubs in the United States. And Margie Cole was ran it for years with Rich Miller, Dennis Miller's brother from Saturday Night Live. And she believed in me and moved me from opener to headliner for the first time in their history. I never featured. I mean, I may be featured 2 or 3 times, but she moved me from opener to headliner. And let me tell you, Charlie, I sucked. And I had explosive, this is terrible to say, but I had horrible diarrhea all week. I mean, like, I just thought I'm going to have to go to the hospital. I was so torn up and not ready, but she believed in me. And that's how I got started. And that from there, things kind of, I just always was in the game. I wanted to tell y'all that I got asked to do the sweetest thing in my hometown. I got asked to do a charity event for East Tennessee Children's Hospital in Knoxville, Tennessee. And it was a local Dancing with the Stars for local celebrities. And I'm a big deal in Knoxville. So they asked me to do this, and I didn't want to do it because they put you in a bikini with fringe sewn on it, just like they do on ABC. You're practically naked in front of everybody you've ever known. And I had been eating white flour, and I was in a bad place, and I didn't want to do it, but I thought, isn't that selfish of me? That's sick little children. And they raised so much money for them. So I said I would do it. And they put me with this precious partner, Daniel, a big old boy. And we were going to do the Cha-Cha to Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. And we practiced for 6 weeks, and we begged for money during the day and danced at night. And it was so stressful. So one night, we were practicing, he kind of slung me hard, and I thought, oh my gosh, something doesn't feel right. So I went to bed, and I got up the next morning, and this big thing was sticking out about right here, and I thought, oh my gosh, is that backed up poop? And, cause I have trouble with that. And, I called my girlfriend, Emily, and I said, I think I've got backed up poop. And she said, I don't think poop goes up that far. And so she looked on her WebMD on her iPad and found a picture of a man that looked like an alien coming out of him. And she said, is that it? And I said, yes. And she said, you got a hernia. So like 4 days before the event, I had a hernia that had to be operated on. So I went in for that operation, and my 2 teenage girls that are usually so hateful, okay, they stepped in and learned to dance in 4 days. So the night of the event, I came out in a wheelchair to Proud Mary Keep On Turning. And they did that video, that dance. If you remember when Tina Turner would do that and it looked like a car wash. Do y'all remember that? And what I learned in that whole thing, what I learned in that whole thing was that if something bad, really bad happened to me, God forbid, like a bad sickness, my husband and my children would let me die. After I had that hernia surgery, I laid up in the bed for 3 days and nobody checked on me. I've got too much estrogen, which evidently makes you hateful and bitter and angry. And so I sweat all night, just like I've done jazzercise in the bed all night. And I wake up, I've got sweat right here in the back of my head. My head just looks like fuzz in the back. And my husband, okay, so I put it on 67, and he says, I can see my breath, and that's a lie. But he's having to wear pajamas for the first time in our marriage, and we've got 2 beagle hounds that we're in love with because his children are gone. And so we've got a big one, and he takes the big beagle and spoons the big beagle at night. And I've got the little beagle, the little pocket beagle that we rescued, and she's got a nervous tick and eats our furniture and our fabric like a goat. But anyway, they sleep in the bed with us, and the bed is so nasty. Okay, so the little beagle, so he's spooning the big one. The little beagle backs her little butthole up to my head. And sleeps up against me all night. I love her. And in the morning, I can hear my husband when he gets up, he's kissing that big beagle and he's going, and I'm so thankful. The only thing about having them in the bed really is I tried those eyelash extensions. I paid a lot of money for those, but beagle hair would end up in them, and it itched real bad, so I had to let them fall out. But anyway, he came to me in, he was in middle school or high school, and he's very spiritually mature, has always been. I didn't do it. Their daddy didn't do it. God did it. But we call him our little Billy Graham. But anywho, so he was dating a little girl, and he came home, and I said, what y'all been doing? And he said, we've been watching a movie, and we were kissing. I said, oh, that's normal. That's okay. But I said, baby, before you know it, one thing can get out of hand. You've got your arm around somebody, and then you've got your hand on her leg. Things can get out of control. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said to me, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship. On a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now. I could get a new purse out of that. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Youth groups. And we've all, here in the South, we've all been raised in church, Did y'all ever go to a lock-in? What little fool came up with that? Y'all know that it was some precious little woman maybe, and they were like, they were in a committee meeting, and she was like, oh gosh, y'all, we need to come up for something for all the hormonal teenagers. I know. We'll put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant. Deutsch is. That name's hard to say, Deutsch. The big idea, Donnie Deutsch, he's some big advertising guy that's done like Nike. I don't know what all he's done, but anyway, nice looking man. He was on the Today Show with Matt Lauer and all them. They were talking about Valentine's, and they said that men really don't care about Valentine's Day. That women, it's more for women, and that you need to buy your wife and girlfriend, nifty things on Valentine's Day. And they said, what do men want? And he said, men want a woman to do nasty, vulgar things to them. And he said, do a surprise, like dress up in something, an outfit, like a nursing outfit or a French maid. And I thought to myself, Lord, if I've got on a French maid outfit, I know Chuck, he'd say, Leanne, get some spick and span. We're going to fix these baseboards that you hadn't washed the whole time we've lived here. I'm going to dust them, and then I want you to go over them with spick and span. And then just after I had ruined my back, after a day of doing the baseboard, then he would come up to me and try to mount me, I guess is what people say. Is that nasty? I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. Well, that's biblical. I'm married. I've had 3 beautiful children that I'm in love with. I have a son who is 14 years old now. I cannot believe it. Thank you. And I have 2 little girls that are 11 and 9. And my baby child is in 4th grade now. I cannot believe it. When she went to kindergarten a few years back, that was going to be the first time that I was going to be by myself all day long from 8 to 3, all by myself. I nearly grieved myself to death. I thought, Lord, what am I going to do with all this time on my hands? I hope I don't get hooked on whiskey and start honky-tonking. About 3 weeks into kindergarten, I was like, it's your birthday, Now I ain't gonna get a pap smear without somebody sitting on my head. I'll never forget the day that I found out about her, and I feel terrible about it now. But I was overwhelmed. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel good. I thought, oh my gosh, surely I'm not pregnant this quick, this soon. And you know when you got to know something, you got to know it right then. I had to know right then. I grabbed up my 2 babies and diaper bag and all that stuff you take with you everywhere you go, and I went to the Walmart in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And I bought an EPT pregnancy test, and I took it in the stall at Walmart. And I tinkled on it. And my 3-year-old boy looked at me. He said, "What, is it positive?" And it was. So I drove home just as fast as I could. And I called my husband at work. And I said, "You're trying to kill me, aren't you? With a slow vaginal death. Is that what you're trying to?" "Well, you're not going to. You better get home right now, because I'm going to walk out in the woods and let the animals eat me." But let me explain to y'all why I was so torn up. I had a 13-month-old baby girl in diapers and a 3-year-old little boy in Superman panties with doo-doo balls falling out. At the grocery store. I thought, oh my Lord, did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child gonna think it's a milk dud? Let's just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. But God knew better than I did, because she's been a doll baby, but she's ruined. And I know I'm the one who did it. I was tired and beat down. So, anybody here who has more than 2, you know, good night by that 3rd and 4th one, you got to let them do what they got to do, you know. She still cries over anything. She cries because she knows she gets her way. I said, "What's she crying about?" "She wants your toy." "Well, just give it to her." I can't deal with it. But she's a quirky little thing and fun. She is. She enjoys office work. And for Santa Claus this past Christmas, she wanted a filing cabinet. And that's what she wanted. And she likes, you know, big tape dispensers and all that kind of stuff. And in our house, she has offices set up all over our house. And she's always talked to herself. And we like to sneak and watch her, because she'll be doing office work. And she has her little Barbie phone or cell phones and old cordless phones, and she'll be calling people up and chewing them out over the phone. She says, "Well, if you can't get this order in, I'm taking my business elsewhere." She says she wants to work for Geico when she gets older. For her 8th birthday, you know how mamas will call you and say, "What's she into? What can I get her?" And I said, "Well, she needs office supplies." My oldest daughter has turned 11, and she's in 6th grade in middle school. And I can tell that puberty is beginning with her. She's crazy. And she's mean as a snake. And we're scared to death of her, but we just tiptoe around her. She cries a lot, and she doesn't know why, and she tells us, "I don't know why I'm crying." And we just try to get through it. But I'm telling you, she can run a household. She's a grown woman. She has been ever since she got here. So I said, "You're going to have to come in here, baby." I said, "Your daddy's going to take care of y'all." I'm going to Nashville for like 3 days. She bust out crying. I said, what's wrong? She said, don't leave us with him. He doesn't know where the food is. I said, well, that's why you're in charge. And she is. God love her. But my girls are emotional, and I don't mean to talk about them because I love them, and I know they'll visit me in the nursing home. But they are lunatics. My husband says they're psycho, and they need therapy. And I'll give you all an example. I can be in the pickup line at school, and this has happened when they were in first grade, and it happens every day when I pick them up at school now. I'm sitting in the pickup line, and I can see them come out, and they are in a good mood. And they're goosing each other and giggling and doing and talking and having a good time. They're waving to the teachers and the principal. See you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over to my vehicle. Get in. Shut the door. My 11-year-old take her backpack and sling it and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this. I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her. Why'd you have her? And then my baby will be sitting up there in a daze. She'll be going, Mama, 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 Mama. What? Mama, Mama, Mama. What? I'm listening. She asked me some of the craziest things. One day she said to me, did Jesus ever have head lice? How do you answer something like that? I said, well, baby, if he did, I know he healed it. And then my girls would be whipping each other in the back seat and telling each other how bad they hate each other and they wished each other were dead. And then my sweet boy will come out. He'll get in and he'll say, you know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. Just as happy-go-lucky. He's just like this. He's been like that all of his life. He's 14. He's never sassed me. I know people say it's coming. I'm telling you, I don't think it will. And I'm in love with him. My husband says I have an unhealthy obsession with him. Whatever. And, he's the only one of all my family that doesn't give me any crap. So yes, I am in love with him. And that doll, we want the best for him and we want the best for these children. We want them to be involved in sports. You know, keep them off of dope. All right, now they are grown. And I cannot believe it. It just flew by. My boy is 24 years old, and he is married. He got out of college. He met his college sweetheart his freshman year. He said he would never marry young, but he did. And he brought her home. And all right, who in here has had boys and girls? Can you clap? Who do you think's easier to raise? I mean, just yell it out. Boys or girls? Boys. Boys. Every once in a while, a little frail woman will yell, girl. And she's probably being threatened. But anyway, no. We love our girls. I love my girls. I truly do. And I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. Because my boy will be off with his wife and her people. Because he said to me, he brought her home and he said, "You got a terrible look on your forehead." And I said, "Oh, it's nothing against her. It's just I'm jealous because I thought you would only love me." I know that's twisted. I know it is, but he was the best thing that ever happened to me. All right, my kids all yell at me, and my husband, everybody's in a bad mood all the time, and he's the only one that's never fussed at me. And he was just the sweetest child growing up. And so when he said he was going to marry somebody and move off, it was awful. But let me say that I love her, and they live near us, and she's like another child to me, and it has been a blessing. She is very sweet and has forgiven me for my forehead looks. But anyway, but he said to me right before they got married, he goes, "Mom, she's going to be my immediate family. You're now my extended family." He said, "Mom, that's biblical." I thought, why did I show him the Bible? Let me tell y'all about him. He's an old soul. Have you ever met anybody that was an old soul? He was born an 80-year-old man. He has had a garden since he was in 6th grade. He plays the mountain dulcimer and the banjo. He woodworks. He makes spoons. He makes spoons. I mean, he is so yummy. All right, his favorite music is gospel bluegrass. His favorite, oh, well, no. Okay. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. All right. His favorite artist was Dr. Ralph Stanley. Dr. Ralph, look at you. Knowing who Dr. Ralph Stanley is. Okay, for those of you who don't, he was on the Oh Brother Where Art Thou. That is probably the most famous thing he did. But he was the godfather of Mountain Soul. He ended up dying at like 92. And had a little cowboy hat propped on his head. Yummy. Okay, he would come through Knoxville, and I would take my son to see Dr. Ralph when my son couldn't drive. They propped little Dr. Ralph up on stage because he was so old. I almost threw my panties at him because that's what you do to Tom Jones. And I love him. But anyway, I'm standing there listening to Dr. Ralph Stanley singing gospel bluegrass, and I think to myself, how many teenage boys are listening to this? What are teenage boys listening to? Rihanna, Waka Flocka Flame, some of that nasty goings on. I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I had to yell at my boy, "Turn that gospel bluegrass down. You're out of control. If I hear I saw the light one more time." All right, here's another example of meanness. My middle one is in a sorority at the University of Tennessee, and a lot of those little girls will come home that can't go home on the weekends. They'll come to our house, and I can cook for them. I enjoy it. I really do. And they can wash their clothes. Well, one little girl came, and I washed that little thing's clothes because she stayed 2 days. And all I said to her was, "Katie, you're so tiny. Your little underwear looks like a slingshot." That little girl thought it was funny, and my baby looked at me and went, so I got out of there. And then when that little girl left, I came back in. I said, "What's wrong with me saying that her little panties look like a slingshot? I wish somebody'd say my panties look like a slingshot." You boys in the front row, y'all want to know what my panties look like? Did y'all ever watch Braveheart and Mel Gibson? You remember that big old catapult when they'd pull that big thing back, put a ball in it, fling it, and kill a bunch of women and children with it? That's what my panties look like. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Thank you for clapping for my panties. I used to wear Victoria's Secret when I was their age because I still had hope. But y'all know what? I quit wearing them. You know why? Because y'all know who owns Victoria's Secret? Satan. And I don't wear my panties for evil. So that was cutting me in two. They just got to be too little. So I bought Somas. Anybody here giving up like I have? Anybody here wearing Somas? No? Let me tell you about Somas. They're the best thing that's ever happened. Okay, because they've got a whole line of nightgowns and underwear and all this stuff that's called Cool Nights. Because it pulls moisture away from you in the night. Yay. To keep you from having a stroke. Because you're going through the change and you're sweating. Dr. Oz, are y'all with me? So, it has a dry fit technology in it. So you boys could play golf in them. I'm not kidding. They're not pretty, but anyway, that's what I wear. Let me tell you a little bit about my husband. My husband is very smart and very quiet and an introvert and does very well and then married me. And we've been exactly the opposite, but it has worked. He's a big man. He's 6'4". He can kick a door in, and I like that. He works like a dog, and he loves a baby. Let me tell y'all that he is a baby cuddler at East Tennessee Children's Hospital. He cuddles the drug-dependent babies every week of the world as a volunteer. I know, sweet. He didn't help me with mine. Because he was out making a living and paying for all this. We've got 2 still in college, and I wanted a 4th baby so bad when my baby child went to kindergarten. I nearly grieved myself to death. I thought, Lord, what am I going to do with all this time on my hands? I hope I don't get hooked on whiskey and start honky-tonking. And about 3 weeks into her going to kindergarten, I was like, woohoo! Woohoo! Now I can go get a pap smear without somebody sitting on my head. But my husband, when I dropped her off, he said, meet me at the IHOP. Because he knows that pancakes get me through a hard time. And I was crying, and I said, I want another baby. And he said, why don't you get a job? Yeah, right. So I said, I want a 4th baby. And he said, y'all are sucking the financial life out of me. So he bought me a dachshund. I had that dachshund for years. She's gone now. But let me tell you, she and I both got thyroid issues. She had cushions. I was walking her in our neighborhood one day, and a little girl came out in her driveway, and she said, can I pet your groundhog? Oh, y'all. So about my husband. All right, so my husband is a big man and is 6'4". I'm 5'8". We breed big kids. And we wanted them to be in sports and when they were growing up, and so we made them do all kinds of mess they didn't want to do. And we put our boy, when he was little bitty, we put him in T-ball. He hated it. I don't know if any of y'all have had a baby play T-ball, but for those of you who don't know, T-ball season, it's about 110 degrees outside. It's little children that are 4 look like they've got a diaper on under their baseball pants or a pull-up. The games last about 3 hours. Nobody ever hits the ball, throws the ball, catches the ball, makes contact with the ball. My baby laid in a fetal position in the outfield the entire season. He never touched a ball. Every once in a while, he'd pop his little head up and say, "Water." One game, it was so hot, and I told the middle one to go out and take her brother a water bottle. She was about 2.5, and she went walking out there with a tutu and a crown and a wand and her pink prostitute shoes from Walmart. She walked about halfway, stopped, got a glazed look over her eyes, pulled her little panties to the side, and pooped in the T-ball field. She really did. So I had to run out there and get a stick and flick it into the woods because I didn't want another child to step in it or think it was a milk dud. He would not play sports for several years because of that trauma. And then ended up playing football and cross country and a bunch of stuff, and still he likes to mountain bike and hike and do scary things, but he likes to come, out west to do it. And he's a fly fisherman. Can y'all tell I'm in love with him? Okay.